with coverage you can count on. This is the Erie News NOWCAST.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kristen Allen. Thanks for joining us for tonight's edition of the Erie News NOWCAST. An influential federal advisory panel has rejected a plan to offer Pfizer booster shots against COVID-19 to most Americans. The vote today was 16-2 and was a blow to the Biden administration's plan to shore up people's protection against the virus. Over several hours of discussion, members of the Food and Drug Administration panel of outside experts voiced frustration that Pfizer had provided little data on safety of extra doses. And they complained that data provided by Israeli researchers about their booster campaign might not be suitable for predicting the U.S. experience. Turning now to COVID locally, meantime, only 6% of ICU beds are available in Erie County hospitals as of today. That number is down compared to yesterday, when there were about 12% of ICU beds available. COVID-19 continues to take its toll on the hospital system, with more than 70 patients currently hospitalized with COVID-19 in our region. Meantime, the state has released new data on COVID-19 in children. According to that data, there were 120 new cases among school-aged children in Erie County over the course of a week. That data backs up decisions by certain local school districts to go virtual. We always have the latest COVID-19 data on our website at erienewsnow.com. Speaking of, another school has opted to go virtual because of rising coronavirus cases. Chestnut Hill Elementary is shifting to virtual instruction next week, according to district leaders. The temporary closure lasts just 1 week, and in-person school resumes on Monday, the 27th. We'll continue to update you on air and online as we know more. And tonight's football game at Veterans Stadium will be the last Friday night game of the season for Erie High School. The district has made some major changes to the schedule in response to a fight that broke out in stands 2 weeks ago. Erie News Now, Jameson Hicksonbaugh explains those changes.
The brawl broke out here at Veterans Stadium on September 2nd during the third quarter of the football game between Erie High and Prep. So the district is now taking additional measures to prevent it from happening once again. Erie News Now obtained this video of the violent fist fight. You can see a group of fans exchanging blows, with several people toppling over in the stands. School district police attempted to break up the fight, eventually using pepper spray to disperse the crowds.
Is it time for us to move here?
During the scuffle, a false report of shots fired sent both teams sprinting off the field. So to ensure everyone's safety, the district has made the following changes. Home games will be played on Saturday afternoons instead of Friday. Also, no tickets will be sold at the game. Instead, tickets will be sold at Erie High School and Collegiate Academy. Visiting teams must supply the Erie High Athletic Director a list of any parents or fans who plan on attending. Also, fans must enter the gate on 26th and State Street, and there will be a heavier school district police presence at each game. The Erie School District provided us the following statement. The football schedule and ticketing procedures were changed to support the safety of our students and guests, which remains our top priority. Meanwhile, no tickets are going to be sold at tonight's game. And the games are then going to move to Saturday starting next week, where Erie High will square off against McDowell at 1 in the afternoon. Jameson Hicksonbaugh, Erie News Now.
And our Isley Gooden at that game tonight, getting a reaction from fans. She'll have more tonight on Erie News Now at 10 and 11. And high school athletes were disappointed last year when fans were not permitted to attend games due to COVID-19. So far this year, spectators are allowed, and one group of students is making sure their voices are heard, even with masks. John Last has their story in this edition of The Last Word.
Last year, you can almost hear a pin drop inside the Union City High School gym. No fans allowed, but it's a new year and the place is now rocking, thanks to the Wild Things. The Wild Things are the student cheering section for the Union City girls volleyball team. The group was organized this season to give the team an enthusiastic boost after the girls had to play last year in a silent gym. It worked. The team won its first game.
We all just wanted to support our volleyball team, and we came here and had a big night, swept the Titusville Rockets, and we all got together and we loved it.
Support from the Wild Things is definitely needed on this night for the second game of the season. The opponent is the Corey Beavers. Not only are they perennial District 10 champs, they also brought their own student cheering section. There's some unwritten rules for the Wild Things. One is there's no sitting down. Two, cheer as loud as you can.
Oh, I love it. I love it when it gets loud in here, and I know the girls love it on the team. So yes, it's really good to feel everyone in here.
The two teams never switched sides, so the Wild Things sat on Corey's side of the net the entire match. On this night, rattling the opponents is just as important as cheering for the home team.
Oh, I can hear them, but I try to tune them out and just focus on what I'm supposed to be doing at that moment. I guess it was kind of trying to rattle us maybe, but it was nice to still make your serves even when they're yelling at you.
Union City broke out to a big lead in the first set. It was 8-1, but the home team lost that set and two others. The games were all close, but the defending champs prevailed despite the efforts of the Wild Things. The Bears hated to lose, but they loved the atmosphere in their gym.
It's a lot of fun. Hearing people supporting us just adds more fight to the fire, and it's just awesome.
With the last word at Union City High School, John Last, Erie News Now.
I love that. The Wild Things plan to continue cheering for other teams in different sports throughout the year. And don't miss another edition of The Last Word. You can always catch up by subscribing to John's YouTube page. Just search The Last Word on Erie News Now on YouTube. And starting today, the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board instituted rations at state liquor stores. On the screen, while you likely won't be able to read all of this list, here's a list from the PLCB of items that are being limited. The shortage is affecting whiskey, tequilas, cognac, and champagne. Establishments and customers are limited to 2 bottle purchases per day, so customers and retailers are allowed to buy multiple bottles at once, but can only buy 2 of the same brand at one time.
We're just saying that you can only buy 2 bottles at a time. Sometimes people in there are hosting a party, they want to buy a case. Okay. Well, at this point we can't fill those orders.
Patron has been out in the city for anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks at a time. So, and it's funny because Patron and Hennessy are 2 of our largest sellers. That means instead of ordering only on Fridays, I'll be ordering Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
These limitations aren't permanent, but right now the PLCB can't put a time frame for when purchases will be back to normal. Head to our website at erienewsnow.com to see the full list of brands being limited. And today is National POW MIA Recognition Day, a day we remember our service members who went to battle and never came home. The Erie chapter of the Vietnam Veterans of America hosted their annual watchfire ceremony today in remembrance.
Ready, hey, fire!
A 21-gun salute there for our men and women who were prisoners of war and missing in action. Vietnam veterans at the South Pier this evening tell me this is a decades-old tradition. People who had been separated from their units would set fires to hopefully be found again. So this fire today is a symbol for our soldiers to find their way home. This is also a time when veterans honorably dispose of worn and tattered American flags. Many of these veterans at the ceremony haven't been in combat for more than 50 years. So one thing I ask is, why is this something that is just still so important to them?
You have to have respect for the guys that were lost, the POWs, the MIAs, and the MIAs that are still missing. And we still respect them, and we'll never forget them.
More on the importance of this day coming up tonight on Erie News Now at 10 and 11. And the city of Erie welcomed 25 new American citizens today during a ceremony at the federal courthouse. They come from more than a dozen countries, including Bhutan, Syria, and Russia. Erie Mayor Joe Schember welcomed the new citizens and spoke on how immigrants and refugees make up a vital part of Erie's population. He also believes that those groups weren't accurately counted during the 2020 census, and confirms to Erie News Now that his office plans to challenge the count.
I've actually talked to some people that worked in the census, and they believe they didn't get to everybody. In fact, one person told me he thinks there's at least, who worked in the census, there's at least 10,000 people that weren't counted. Because they would go to doors, they'd know there are people there, but they weren't answering, so they know they missed a lot. So I'm hoping we can get it at least moved up over 100,000 for the city.
And we also asked the mayor about the possibility of Erie receiving refugees from Afghanistan. He said it's possible, but would likely be a very small population. And we also reached out to the International Institute of Erie. They told us because Erie doesn't have a large Afghan population now, it's unlikely we would receive many refugees, if any at all. Well, thanks for joining us for this edition of the Erie News Nowcast. Join us for our next news at 10 p.m. on the CW and 11 p.m. on WICU and WSEE. Have a great night.